Many people think following Jesus is about rules. They imagine a strict set of do's and don'ts, a checklist of behaviors that must be adhered to in order to be considered a good Christian. This perception can make the journey of faith seem daunting and uninviting, as if it's all about restriction and limitation. Do this, don't do that. The focus becomes a series of commands that feel more like barriers than pathways to a fulfilling life. It's easy to get caught up in the notion that faith is about following a rigid set of rules and in doing so miss the essence of what it truly means to follow Jesus. But it's so much deeper. It's not just about adhering to a moral code or living up to a standard. It's about something far more profound and transformative. It's about a journey that goes beyond the surface, reaching into the very core of our being. Following Jesus is about a relationship. It's about love. It's about connecting with the divine in a way that transforms our hearts and minds. It's about experiencing a love so deep and unconditional that it changes the way we see ourselves and the world around us. It's about surrendering your will to God. Imagine a loving father who desires the best for his children. He knows the paths that lead to true joy and fulfillment. He understands the struggles and challenges we face, and he wants to guide us through them with wisdom and compassion. He knows what's best for you. In his infinite wisdom, he sees the bigger picture that we often miss. He understands the intricacies of our lives and the potential that lies within us. His guidance is not about control, but about leading us to a place of peace and purpose. He wants to guide you like a shepherd leading his sheep. He wants to direct your steps and help you navigate the complexities of life. His guidance is gentle and loving, always aimed at bringing you closer to the life he has planned for you. He wants to bless you. His desire is to pour out blessings upon you, to fill your life with goodness and grace. These blessings are not just material, but spiritual and emotional, bringing a sense of fulfillment and joy that transcends circumstances. But you hold on tight to your own plans. You resist his guidance. In our human nature, we often cling to our own understanding and desires, thinking we know what's best. This resistance can lead to frustration and a sense of being lost as we struggle to find our way on our own. This is not true fellowship with Jesus. True fellowship is not about going it alone or relying solely on our own strength. It's about walking in communion with him, trusting in his wisdom and love to guide us. True fellowship is built on trust. It's about building a relationship founded on faith and confidence in his goodness. It's about knowing that he is for us, not against us, and that his plans are for our ultimate good. It's about saying, God, I trust you. It's about opening our hearts to his leading and being willing to follow wherever he takes us. It's about letting go of our fears and doubts and embracing the journey with faith and hope. I surrender my life to you. Your will be done. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It's an acknowledgement that we are not in control and that there is a higher power who knows and loves us deeply. This is the heart of following Jesus. It's about a relationship that transforms us from the inside out. It's about love, trust, and surrender. It's about walking with him daily, knowing that he is with us every step of the way, guiding, blessing, and loving us unconditionally. Think of your life as a journey. Imagine walking along a winding path through a dense forest, or perhaps a challenging mountain trail. Each step you take represents a moment in your life filled with choices and opportunities. The path may be uncertain, but it is uniquely yours. You can approach it with clenched fists, fighting for control. Picture yourself gripping onto something so tightly that your knuckles turn white. This is how many of us live, trying to control every aspect of our lives, afraid to let go. We hold on to our fears, our anxieties, and our need for control, thinking that this will keep us safe. Or you can approach it with open hands, ready to receive God's blessings. Imagine standing in a wide open field, your hands open and palms up, ready to receive whatever comes your way. This is a posture of surrender, of trust, and of faith. It is an invitation for God's blessings to flow into your life. Which way brings more peace? Think about the calm and serenity of a lake at sunrise, or a peaceful meadow with a gentle breeze. These are the moments of peace that come when we let go of our need for control and allow ourselves to be open to God's presence. Which way allows God to work in your life? When we lift our hands in prayer and look up to the sky with hope, we are inviting God to work in our lives. We are acknowledging that we cannot do it all on our own and that we need His guidance and support. When we surrender to God, we open ourselves to His peace. Picture yourself kneeling in a peaceful garden, a sanctuary where you can connect with God. In this moment of surrender, you're opening your heart to His peace, allowing it to fill you and calm your soul. We let go of worry. Imagine releasing a bird into the sky, watching it soar freely. This is what it feels like to let go of worry, to release the burdens that weigh us down and trust that God will take care of us. We let go of fear, standing on the edge of a cliff, feeling the liberation of open hands, letting the sand slip through your fingers. This is the freedom that comes when we let go of fear and trust in God's plan for us. We find freedom in His love. Surrender is not weakness, it's strength. Embracing another person in a field, feeling the warmth and love that comes from connection. This is the strength that comes from surrender, from knowing that we are not alone and that we are loved by God. It takes courage to let go of control, standing tall on a mountain peak, taking a brave step forward on a path that is uncertain. This is the courage it takes to let go of control and trust in God's plan for our lives. It takes faith to trust God's plan. Looking up at the stars, hands open in a gesture of faith, knowing that there is a greater plan for us. This is the faith it takes to trust in God's plan even when we cannot see the way forward, but the rewards are beyond measure. Standing in a field of flowers, arms wide open as the sun rises over a serene landscape. This is the reward of surrender, the peace and joy that come from trusting in God's plan and opening our hearts to His love. Some people view faith as a transaction. They approach their relationship with God as if it were a business deal, expecting something in return for their devotion. This mindset can be dangerous and misleading. God, if you do this for me, then I'll do that for you. This conditional approach to faith reduces the divine relationship to a mere exchange of favors. It implies that our commitment to God is contingent upon His actions rather than our genuine love and trust in Him. This is not true faith. True faith is unconditional and unwavering. It is not based on what we can get from God, but on who God is. It is about trusting in His goodness and His plan for our lives, even when we don't understand it. This is a business deal. When we treat our faith as a transaction, we miss out on the depth and richness of a genuine relationship with God. We reduce our spiritual journey to a series of negotiations and bargains rather than a path of love and devotion. Judas, who betrayed Jesus, fell into this trap. He followed Jesus for what he could get, not for who Jesus was. His faith was transactional, and it ultimately led to his downfall. Judas's story serves as a cautionary tale for all of us. He followed Jesus for what he could get, not for who Jesus was. This kind of faith is shallow and self-serving. It lacks the depth and sincerity that true faith requires. True faith is about loving God for who He is, not for what He can do for us. True faith is about love. It's about devotion. It's about a deep, abiding relationship with God that is built on trust and love, not on conditions and transactions. It's about giving our hearts to God fully and completely, without expecting anything in return. It's about following Jesus because He's worthy, not because we expect something in return. It's about recognizing His sacrifice and His love for us and responding with our own love and devotion. It's about living a life that honors Him regardless of our circumstances. It's about saying, God, I love you, I trust you, I will follow you no matter what. This kind of faith is not easy, but it is deeply rewarding. It brings us closer to God and helps us to grow in our spiritual journey. I will follow you no matter what. This kind of faith is steadfast and unshakable. It is not swayed by the ups and downs of life, but remains firm and constant. It is a faith that endures, even in the face of challenges and hardships. This kind of faith pleases God. It is a faith that honors Him and brings Him joy. It is a faith that reflects His love and His goodness. It is a faith that is rooted in a deep personal relationship with Him. This kind of faith leads to true joy. It brings us peace and fulfillment, knowing that we are loved and accepted by God. It gives us the strength to face life's challenges with confidence and hope. It is a faith that transforms our lives and brings us closer to God. God doesn't force His will on us. He gives us a promise and a choice. He promises to be with us always. He promises to never leave us or forsake us. But He also gives us the choice to follow Him or go our own way. The choice is yours. Will you choose to follow your own desires? Or will you choose to surrender to God's plan? Will you choose temporary satisfaction? Or will you choose eternal joy? Section 5, letting go of my dream job. I remember when I was offered my dream job, it was everything I'd ever wanted. The salary was amazing, the location was perfect, but something just didn't feel right. I prayed about it. I sought God's will, and I felt Him leading me in a different direction. It was hard. I had to let go of my dream. I had to trust that God had something better in store, but I obeyed. I surrendered my desire to His will. Section 6. The unexpected peace of surrender. You know what? God did have something better. He led me to a different job. It wasn't my dream job, but it was the right job. It was the job He had planned for me all along, and it brought me more joy and fulfillment than I could have ever imagined. When we surrender to God, we experience His peace. We may not always understand His ways, but we can trust that He knows what's best for us. He sees the bigger picture. He has a plan. Section 7. What does surrender look like? Surrender is not a one-time event. It's a daily choice. It's about saying yes to God in every situation. It's about putting His will above our own. It's about trusting Him even when we don't understand. It's about putting God first in everything you do. It's about seeking His guidance in your relationships, your work, and your decisions. It's about letting His love transform you from the inside out. Section 8, take the first step, confession and acceptance. The first step to surrender is confession. Admit to God that you have been trying to control your own life, confess your sins, ask for His forgiveness, and then accept Jesus as your Savior. Invite Him into your heart. Let Him be the Lord of your life. When you do this, you will experience true freedom. You will be free from the burden of sin. You will be free from the fear of death. You will be free to live a life of purpose and meaning.